We start this module by learning about POST, to create a resource. When the resource has successfully been created, 201 status code response is what we should return. That was the first time we submitted a request body to our API. The format of it is designated by the content type header. When talking about input, we're also talking about validation. So that's what we learned next. We learned that we can use data annotations on our DTO classes, and then we learned that we can check for these using the model state. That's a dictionary containing both the state of the model and model binding validation. Whenever the request comes in, the annotations applied to the model are checked. If one of them doesn't check out, the model state's isValid property will be false. Thanks to the API controller attribute, a bad request will automatically be returned in such a case. Then we looked into updating a resource. Put is for full updates, while patch is for partial updates. Partial updates are often preferred, but they require a way to send through a list of changes. That's where the JSON patch standard comes into play. It's essentially a set of rules for expressing a sequence of operations to apply to the JSON representation of the resource we want to update. After a successful update, a no content status code, or as an alternative, a 200 OK status code should be sent back with a response. Delete is for deleting resources, and that warrants a 204 status code in the response. So what else does a good API need? Well, I'd say a certain amount of logging is definitely required. ASP.NET Core has a built-in logger service we can use for that. But before we can use that, we must look into one of the most important ASP.NET Core concepts, working with dependency injection and services. That's coming up next.